Why radical? We build race cars. We race iconic tracks. We set lap records. We build friendships.
3, 4.
We create champions. We make racers.
Welcome to History in the Making. For the first time ever, we go racing in the Radical Academy Esport Championship, a series designed with one goal in mind: getting more Canadian women on track in motorsport. Radical Academy and its esport initiative are breaking down barriers, opening doors, and proving that racing isn't just for the lads. Whether it's on the virtual track or the real-world circuits, this is about talent, skill, and the sheer will to win. Tonight, these drivers take their first steps on the ladder, armed with training modules, data telemetry, and the sharpest tools in the sim racing world. But there's more at stake than just pride. Prizes include simulator gear, driver development tools, and a radical track day experience, putting the very best one step closer to the real thing. The lights out on a new era. The future of Canadian motorsport starts now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a absolute belter. It's going to be myself, Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth today is going to be Jess Trafford as well. Yep, we're currently picking up her mic on the broadcast as well. A little bit of echo there. We're just going to work on fixing that. But ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jess Trafford to the booth. Actually, maybe we'll just take a quick short break for just a second. Maybe run a little bit of B-roll while we just sort through these technical difficulties. I'll do track map then. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are primed. We are ready, ladies and gentlemen. And Jess, I do believe you've got a little bit of information for us about the track we're going to be visiting today.
Yeah, welcome to Watkins Glen International, one of North America's most legendary racing circuits and the stage for tonight's Radical Academy Esport Championship. This is a track that demands respect, Fast, flowing, and packed with history. 3.5 miles, 11 corners, and two of the most famous sections in all of motorsport, the bus stop and the boot. First up, the bus stop, a brutal, high-speed chicane that tempts drivers to throw caution to the wind. Get it right, and you carry the speed through. Get it wrong, and you're bouncing over the curbs, fighting to keep control. Then the boot. It's an iconic extension that adds elevation, tricky braking zones, and technical corners that can make or break a lap. The toe, the heel, the outer loop, it's a roller coaster of commitment and precision. And at the end of it all, only one driver can take victory. The Radical Canada Esport Championship is about to go racing at Watkins Glen. Let's get this show on the road.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, it is Daniel Zippy Salmon here. Joining me in today at the booth is going to be Jess Trafford, making her first ever, full-time appearance here on Pit Road Productions. And certainly it's going to be a fun and interesting experience. My sympathies to her, having to share the booth with myself and our producer, Christian Hill. But let's take a very quick look at the schedule, ladies and gentlemen, and see where these ladies are going to be driving this season for the Radical Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see here, round one takes us to one of my favorite tracks in the schedule. It's Watkins Glen for February the 11th. Round two is going to take us to the home of Radical, certainly Radical Canada. It's going to be Motorsport, with round three taking us to my personal favorite track of Road Atlanta, with round four for Montreal, and round five will close us out in the American circuit of Laguna Seca. And let's take a look a little bit at the event layout we're going to have today. It's going to be very similar to some of the other events we have here on Pit Road Productions, with a 15-minute open qualifying. So, ladies and gentlemen, the draft will be in play there. Cars will be sharing the track, with race one being 15 minutes, race two 15 minutes, with the top five having an inverted grid, with race three having an inverted top 10 for the final race. It's a sprint race, ladies and gentlemen, so there are no stops required. It is a fixed setup with rolling starts. There is one spare car available, so should you have an untimely end and meet the wall, you will be able to get a replacement car out, with 20 incidents for a penalty and 30 incidents meeting a disqualification. Don't get me wrong, I've got to be honest, if you hit 20 incidents in a 15-minute race, maybe need a little bit more practice here. But we are going to skip the points today, because literally this is the first event and we're going to get ready for the grid. I do believe they may be doing a little bit of qualifying right now, so maybe we'll take a little bit of an onboard lap. Actually, no, I think qualifying literally just finished. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Perfect timing. Absolutely perfect timing. Some beautiful footage there of Watkins Glen. And ladies and gentlemen, here is the grid, and not surprising to me, I've got to be honest, Cara Dudgeon is going to take the pole with a 139.7. In second place, Cindy Picot. She's there for Picotti Racing on the second row, the number 212 car. As we have a look at third, that's going to be Marion Edwards for Edison Racing, alongside Grace Hughes, one of the Radical Academy current drivers. As we have a look back in fifth, we are going to see the one, the only Ella Martin, alongside somebody who has swiftly been booted from the session because he's joined the wrong one. Ivan Langevin looking to make a little bit of a screen drop there. As we have a look back in seventh, we do have an actual driver, I believe, for the Radicals. We have Amalia Ciparone, one of the Italian drivers actually now living in Canada, with the admin, which I've got to guess will be Mr. Broomhead there, whose car has appeared to be in the 00 position. And I believe that closes out our grid, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of people getting a little bit anxious, I guess, to get some practice in here. Certainly the Radical around Watkins Glen. What a absolutely phenomenal setup, a phenomenal track car combination. And certainly I think it's going to be a lot of fun going around there, as I do believe these cars have all taken to the grid at this point. You can see there a nice assortment of variety of paint jobs. There are actually three of them rocking the Radical Academy paint job, as these ladies are getting ready to grid. Certainly, yeah, we're still going for a couple of technical difficulties there, so you're going to be stuck with me a little bit longer, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to get Jess, sorted out and ready to return to the broadcasting talent that she is yet to become, ladies and gentlemen. She's still starting out, and I have got high hopes for her, but certainly you can hear the turbocharged sound of that SR10 compared to the naturally aspirated SR8 we used to have before. The SR10, I believe it has a twin-turbo V8. Absolute belter of a sound. Certainly myself, a big fan of big whoosh noises. Jess, you've been firsthand around some of these cars. Maybe you could shed a little bit of a light on that, as these girls even do the formation lap.
Yeah, these cars are wonderful. They're low to the ground, they're fast, they're a junior prototype. Honestly, there's no better grid than the Radical grid out there right now. It's exciting to see them on Watkins Glen with some elevation changes, high speed, low speed. It's definitely an iconic circuit in North America here, and I think these ladies are really going to enjoy it. The Radical is going to be great on this track. It's well suited, and I can't wait to see what happens here.
Well, it should be a absolute belter, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, I am looking forward to it very much. Cara Dudgeon showed incredible talent last time I saw her out on the racetrack. Did more than just hold her own. As we can see there, the weather conditions actually, I'd say, quite a cool track today. Certainly, with it being in Fahrenheit, it's, for lack of better words, in funny money in terms of I'm concerned, but certainly not the highest of numbers I've expected to see. 70 degrees Fahrenheit with 97 degrees track temp, clear skies, and a little bit of wind with a very, very slight little bit of humidity there. I don't think we're going to be seeing any rain in this race, but certainly if we do, it will add an extra dynamic. Certainly, you know, we've seen what happens when radicals go in the rain with like a 40-50 car grid. I can certainly imagine it will be a little bit of a shock to some of these ladies. Certainly for myself, it is a whole different driving experience once a little bit of moisture gets down there on the track. But currently, they're going through the bus stop, and I do believe this will be one of the best passing opportunities we'll see on track. Certainly breaking around the 300-yard marker, getting that car drop going incredibly tight to that Armco, where they're going to slingshot it through and into that long right-hander.
Hello.
No, I do believe they're having a couple more technical difficulties. I can see my commentator's friend. Her mic is lighting up and there is no sound coming out. It's almost as if the Little Mermaid has stolen her voice at this point, but perhaps maybe it's a technical issue on my side. I'm not entirely sure. Certainly, it's with any broadcast, the first show is always a little bit of a discovery mission, I guess. Certainly, it's a tried and tested format, but a few new things here in play, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly, you know, interesting field indeed. And Jess, if you are there, what's going to be your strategy for the opening laps of this race?
You know, it all comes down on the very first lap here with such a small group. You know, it'll be great. Lap 1, corner 1, you got to get onto the inside. That will set you up for the S's and the inner loop bus stop. You got to be defensive throughout the first lap. I think that's really important. You want to push and keep your eyes forward. You got to don't watch your mirrors too much. Just pay attention to what's going on in front of you. That's what I would do. Yeah, simple as that. Easier said than done, though, I have to say.
Well, definitely very valid point there by my co-commentator, Jess. And I do think the biggest thing to remember, having especially just done qualifying, is the tires are going to be cold. They do take a couple of laps to get up to the optimum temperature. And you can see there, green, green, green. Then it is a 5-6 car grid. And they are off, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see there, Cara Dudgeon absolutely sending it down to turn 1. Beautiful start. Gets around there. As, oh, that's gone a little bit wide there. I believe that may have been Marion Edwards, but don't hold me to it there. We'll have a quick look in just a moment. But Cara Dudgeon already pulling away from the field. That gap up to about 7/10 of a second.
Yeah, Cara's absolutely steaming away on the field here. A little bit of a mistake there, going a bit wide, but that's okay. She recovered gracefully, and she's back on track with the rest of the pack now. Yeah, it looks like we might have a battle coming up here for the first place. We never know. Don't see there who's in second quite on my end, but that could be a good one to come for later on. Maybe once we get out of one of the straights and into maybe corner 6 or 7, where a lot of passing typically happens.
Well, certainly, you know, you got to remember, low risk, high reward. That is generally the name of the game. Certainly when it comes to these radicals, you definitely do not want to overdrive the car. You need to rely on that aerodynamics, don't get me wrong, but certainly build up the temperature in the tires first. You need to get the car up to optimum temperature so it is working for you, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly as we look right now, Cara Dudgeon absolutely flying right now. 2.6 seconds ahead of the 2-on-2 car of Cindy Picard. Actually 3 seconds now, and then I believe it's a 4-second gap to Marion Edwards. But I do believe we may have a little bit of a battle going on a little bit further back between 5th and 6th of Grace Hughes and Amalia Ciparone.
Yeah, it looks like we might have a battle going on between those two down there. You know, as we're going through these corners, you got to remember, like you said, get the tires up to temp. I don't know exactly what it's like in iRacing, but I know for a 15-minute race in the last, say, 5 minutes, you're fighting that tire deg at the end. So, well,
Well, certainly some interesting things here going on in the booth, and trying to get the there we go, let's try this one. Same deal. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is. You can see there I'm currently looking about 480p right now, but you know, battles happening throughout the field, ladies and gentlemen, as I do believe. Nope, I couldn't tell you who we're watching right now. I really couldn't tell you who we're watching right now, but Cindy Picot, ladies and gentlemen. So this is one of the newer comers here to the radical side of it. And actually, let's have a quick look about a little bit of information about this driver. So this driver, this is sponsored by Brooklyn Village Physiotherapy, and takes part in the Super Production Challenge, Time Attack, Lapping, and indeed the regional races as well. So I do actually wonder, will I get to meet this driver when they come down to Atlantic Motorsport Park? We've got and you have the production car challenge coming down to see my local track, so maybe I'll get to see this driver in person. But currently standing in second place, definitely some real world experience, but the question is, can that real world experience translate onto the sim racing world?
You know, Zippy, I definitely think you'll get to meet Cindy here. She's definitely one of the forefront girls in the Super Production Challenge paddock. I had the honor of meeting her this year, and her and the whole Ducati racing team are fantastic. They're definitely front runners in the grid, so you know you'll see them at the front of the pack there at Atlantic Motorsport Park. She's definitely got lots of experience behind the wheel, and she's one to watch in this series.
Oh, absolutely. You can see there, definitely we'll understand the dynamics of the vehicle, and we'll know that you certainly got to get the tires warmed up. So perhaps maybe not a threat immediately off the bat, but certainly the potential is there. Currently resting in second place. Actually, I think the closest battle we got going on right now is between Ella Martin, currently in third place, with Marion Edwards. The gap there under a second, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see there's Marion Edwards. We saw her take a little bit of a wide line going into turn one for the first lap. Certainly, I think the cold tires maybe having an effect that she was there. They're currently back in fourth place right now and hot on the heels of what appears to be a Radical Academy driver of Ella Martin.
Yeah, Ella Martin, she's definitely one to watch in this series. She got the Win Canada on her Radical there, number 206. She's been karting at Goodwood Arrive and Drive for just over a year. She's done a year of regional junior Briggs light karting. I've definitely talked to her and her dad a few times. They are great people. She's going to be someone great to have around the paddock and looking to make that jump from karts to cars this year. So I think this is the perfect first step for her, especially being a female forward organization here. That's what we're all about.
Oh, absolutely. Certainly, it's going to be good to see these people get more and more into it there, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see on the feed, it's certainly going to be a spicy battle, ladies and gentlemen. A spicy one indeed, as they're going to be going hard at it. Absolutely hard at it, ladies and gentlemen. But just give us for 1 second here. So currently we're on board with Marion Edwards, so currently resting in fourth place, and certainly turning the screws on a little bit there to Ella Martin in the 206 machine. That gap has come down to about 0.6 of a second, doing everything they can, applying some pressure. And you've got to remember here, ladies and gentlemen, certainly there is more than one way to win on a racetrack. Don't get me wrong, outright pace is one way of doing it, but certainly getting into the head of your opponent, trying to force a mistake is another approach to doing it. And, you know, at this point, I'd say Marion Edwards doing that very, very well. Now, can Ella Martin withstand the pressure? Certainly driving for women in motorsports, she's going to be pretty schooled, certainly well educated in terms of racing etiquette, and certainly, you know, you see Marion there put a little bit of a nose on the inside as they go into turn one. Well, you can see there that battle has got even closer still. That gap is now under 0.2 of a second, ladies and gentlemen, and they're side by side, and this is where I said would be a prime passing opportunity. As you can see there, Marion Edwards going up on the inside, plenty of space left, and no, not quite able to get it done. Ella Martin cuts over right across. Marion Edwards have to stay in fourth, but the battle is indeed not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. They are continuing to go. The battle continues as they go around a long right-hander as they're heading down into a little bit of a downhill section here into a left-hander. Now, this next hairpin, less long right-hander with the uphill gradient, I do believe is going to be another prime passing opportunity. Certainly, if you can be late on the brakes there, you could potentially steal the position early on, but corner exit is indeed crucial. You can see a little bit of correction there from Marion, just gradually putting the power down as they head into another prime passing opportunity. Certainly, the corner after, not so good. A bit of a low-speed corner, not quite the best place at doing it. And if you can't get it done here, you know, they're going to go for it. Almost contact. Marion Edwards Edwards
side
with the
here.
evasion. Side by side. What are you watching?
Maybe mine's a little laggy there.
Carry on, Jess. Carry on.
There we go. She's really pushing her here. Maybe if she gets close enough here, she can definitely push, catch a draft. Maybe she's going to want to wait for one of the better passing zones. Oh, there we go. Opportunity, and goes for now. But here we go. Looks like they could do it here on the front straight. Yep. Battle for corner one here. And there we go. Looks like she's pulling away a little bit. Marin Edwards up in front. Looks like everything's going smoothly from here. I guess we'll have to wait and see where our next battle will be. She's definitely pulling a big gap there, so good for her.
Oh, you can see there, Ella Martin is looking to try and get that position back while being pushed off the podium. For now, I don't think this battle is yet to be over. And certainly, we do know that the draft is of big effect in these cars. It was about a second. That gap opened up to about 1.4 seconds. She's going to have to really work hard, push the car 1.6 seconds now. She needs to really put the hammer down and capitalize. If she loses that draft, the challenge is indeed going to be a lot harder. Certainly, to climb a mountain is one thing, but to climb a mountain with an extra rucksack on is an even bigger challenge. And if she wants to get back on that podium step, she is gonna have to apply the pressure. Certainly, we've seen Marin Edwards a little bit spicy at the start, went her a little bit wide, but certainly has got that car now firmly in her grasp and is looking to try and run away with the third place position.
Yeah, she's definitely getting dialed in there. But hopefully Ella is too. You know, she's got to put her head down, don't watch your mirrors. She's got nothing behind, so she's all clear there. Just eyes forward, keep it going. Oh, we got a little bit, maybe a little too quick coming into that corner, but she's getting back on the track there and keep it on going. She's still got lots of time to make up speed here. You know, the last 3 laps here, you never know what can happen. She's proven herself to be a quick driver, and she's got it going.
Well, certainly you
Looks
can
like
see
cars.
that. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Jess, go ahead.
The car is now pulling a 23-second lead, so that's amazing. And then just behind her, we got Cindy Picotte. You know, the top 2 there, getting pretty close. Still a little far. You never know what'll happen, but I think the real battle here is definitely between Ella, Grace, Marin for 3, 4, 5.
Well, certainly, Cara Dudgeon, we did come in almost as a favorite there, and certainly she has proven that hard work does indeed result in success. Certainly, I do remember for the BIS Radical Canada Cup Series, she's competing there with a field of about 40, 50 cars, and not only that, was holding pole for a sustained period of time, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly, the practice has been applied, and I do know that she's been working hard to not only find pace, but to improve, and it's certainly paying off right now, is leading the debut season, the debut race, ladies and gentlemen, of the Radical Academy Esports Series for round 1 here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, we also see Grace Hughes here. She's really making moves. She's going to be in one of our Radical Academy cars in real life this year, racing regionally, so out of like CTMP, Motorsport, some local stuff around Ontario as she gets more comfortable in cars, specifically Radicals. I know she's done lots of work at Calabogie and other types of cars, but you know, this may be her first time in a prototype. And we're extremely excited for her to be representing us. She has great media, great marketing. She's done very well for herself, for a self-made driver here. So it's definitely one to watch. Very interesting to see how she's pushing so hard in this race here.
Well, actually, I am forgetting actually that you know the background of about a lot of these drivers, Jess. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about Grace Hughes while we're currently riding on board of her as she's heading towards the final corner?
Yeah, Grace is definitely amazing to work with. I first met her last year. I think she was doing a track day with us, and she started out, you know, she came around. You can't miss that, like, fire red hair. She's definitely, you can't miss her in the paddock. She's gorgeous. And, you know, she's also a very fast driver. She's lightning on the track, on and off. And, oh, looks like we've maybe made a small mistake in one of these corners where Ella is going to go for the pass, capitalize on that opportunity. Ella is also an amazing racer, again, looking to make the jump from cars to cars. And look at that. She's seeking every opportunity she can get. we see Amalia, and she's got an insane racing history behind her. We're excited to see her in this series. Maybe this is her first time doing this in a prototype. I 100% know her iRacing background, but I know in real life on the track, she's an absolute weapon and one to watch. She does lots of training and coaching, track days in cars like Nissan Silvia, GR86s, Porsche 911s, GT3 RS, and she's done some racing over in the UK at Caldwell and Donington. So, that in real life experience is definitely invaluable even in the sim here. So I'm sure we'll see her picking up the pace soon, getting acquainted with the whole iRacing platform and seeing what's going on with her. Cara Dudgeon in the lead, followed by Cindy Picot and Marin Edwards, with Ella Martin not far behind at all, and Grace Hughes not far at all behind her either. Got Amalia going for a little bit of a spin there, doing some agriculture racing, and we've got some position changes going on between Ella Martin and Grace Hughes once again. It looks like Ella's headed into the pits right now. Maybe she's sustained some damage. Not so sure what's going on there, but all the best for the rest of the race here. We still got lots of night left ahead of us. We got 2 more races, so no big deal. People like Cara, though, we are fighting for a championship here, and there's some cool prizes, so you definitely want to give it your last lap push if possible. So it does look like Ella may have given the wall a bit of a tap there. Maybe she came into the corner a bit too hot. That's okay, nothing we can't recover from. She's got to keep on going, head forward, clear your mind, no big deal. We still got 2 more races tonight to go for. See her in the pits there, probably clearing some damage so she can get back out. And now we are on our final lap. We are here with our leader, Cara Dudgeon, who is an absolute weapon on the track. She is definitely one to watch for. Even in the Boys Radical series, she is ahead of the pack. She's running in the top at all times. She's definitely a youngster, and I think she's just going to take this Radical world by storm. We got to definitely get her in one of the cars in real life and see what she can do. She's gracefully going through the corners here. Look at that, just absolutely using the corner of definitely to her advantage, all the curbing there. Looks like she's doing this absolutely seamlessly, and she's flying through. Massive gap, no pressure from behind, just clear skies, eyes forward. Looks like we're going in, and she's just about halfway down her last lap, and she'll get to claim her first Radical Academy victory. But you never know what happens till the very end. Definitely don't want to jinx that for her. Got Cindy Picot following behind, and Marin Edwards. Looks like Ella Martin is 1 lap down, and Amalia is in the pit currently. So that's what we're looking at for the last lap on our first Radical Academy race here at Watkins Glen for the season. And she's going down the straight here. Great job by Cara tonight. We're seeing her really perform and shine in her element. We know she's amazing on iRacing, and it looks like she's going to come in here for the win.
Well, certainly a interesting first race, but certainly the breakaway that Cara was indeed looking for, pulling away a 36-second gap to the second place car of Cindy Picot. Well, say technically second place, there is still a little bit of real estate to go, certainly for the 212 machine. Marin Edwards just 10 seconds behind us, so certainly it could be an interesting battle indeed. One little mistake, and it could indeed be a topple off the second step of the podium, as I believe she's heading near the later part of the track. So certainly not quite in the bag, 2 corners to go, and the Radical itself, a fantastic car, but certainly not one you can just hit the hammer on and abuse it. You need to respect the car, and failure to do so will result in a spin out heading towards the wall.
A great first race for Cara. We're seeing Cindy Picot here just finishing up her race, and the rest of them are following behind. We see Marin Edwards here get right underneath that Go Bowling Bridge, an iconic sight at Watkins Glen. You can't help but when you enter the track, you see that, you're like, wow, you're there. Some of the most great racers in the entire world have raced on this track, and now it's your turn. Whether that's virtually or in real life, nonetheless, it's always fantastic.
Well, certainly a very clean first race at that. Certainly no incidents that we can think of. But, a good third place there for Marin Edwards. And certainly we're going to see these top 5 get inverted now, ladies and gentlemen, for the second race. So I do wonder as well, having pace at the start is one thing, but how about racecraft? Now, this could be a new test for Cara Dudgeon. She's now going to have to work a little bit harder if she wants to try and get ahead. Is this going to be, is this going to be the undoing of Cara Dudgeon? Is this maybe going to be another chance for her to show off some skills? See the 220 car maybe celebrating a little bit there in the grass, having a little bit of a scenic route, but certainly still a little bit to play for. We're going to go through the results, ladies and gentlemen. official results so far. So in first place, understandably, Cara Dudgeon in the 305 machine. Cindy Bikart, she takes second with Marion Edwards in third, Grace Hughes in fourth, Ella Martin in fifth, and Amalia Ciparone in sixth.
Results up there. You know, all these ladies are fighting for points towards great prizes in this full championship. I guess the next race, everybody knows what they're expecting now, so they'll be able to go out there and really implement some strategies. Maybe they'll think about the camber of some of the turns there, maybe tires in the beginning. I know when you're driving an LMP3, P2, or even a GPP car, sometimes you plank in corner one, so that could definitely send you into the wall. And I know some of these girlies went for a little bit of agriculture racing today on the grass, so maybe we can avoid that the next one. You never know. It can always be a bit of a scramble. It's always great to see what they come up with and how these races go.
Well, certainly it's going to be interesting indeed. We now have Ella Martin, who's going to be starting in the P1 spot with Grace Hughes in second. Marion Edwards will be starting the grid in third with Cindy Picott in fourth and Cara Dudgeon there in fifth. Now, I do wonder if Amalia Ciparone is indeed taken to the grid. I have a feeling they may have disconnected from the session, so perhaps some technical difficulties going on there. You know, I do believe they are indeed in the Radical Academy Esports Series, if I'm not mistaken. Certainly, Ivan Langeveld was trying to moonlight a little bit, as was Chad Payton and mysterious Mr. Broomhead there. But certainly, you know, going to be an interesting race. We've got 5 drivers on the grid. This is going to be a chance for these drivers to demonstrate racecraft, and you see there the pace lap is now beginning.
Looks like all the ladies are setting out for their pace lap. You know, maybe they're looking at different points of the track this time, feeling different things out. You want to warm up those tires, whether you're going from side to side or you're pushing and then braking. Definitely something that comes into play at this track. There we go. We see Grace going we see Cindy Bicott going around the first corner there with the flames on the side of her car. Swerving those tires, trying to warm them up. And right in front of her we have Marion Edwards to the side, who's got a very nice pink and purple livery on her car, with the 2 in front of her sporting the Radical Academy full livery.
Well, certainly some interesting paint jobs. The 212 machine actually reminds me of when I was a much, oh my gosh, this must be 20 years ago. I feel like I've just aged myself indefinitely, but I remember having the sweatpants with the pop studs on the side and the Radical flames. It's fascinating how fashion tastes change over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, I still don't have any, but it has evolved on the very slightest of measures. So I've now wearing jeans, ladies and gentlemen, albeit if I cannot buy them to fit myself, I keep ending up getting them like Lululemon pants, and I don't know how I've done that, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, sophisticated in some ways, lacking in others, but when it comes to commentary, you know what? We've got some good racing here, as we can see from the backside of that Porsche 911 pace car. The debut Academy grid here for the Radical Esports Academy. You can see 5 cars in beautiful formation, I must say. These ladies doing an absolutely fantastic formation lap. Certainly a few series I've commentated on could take a lesson from this for sure. But you can see there, Ella Martin is going to be your pole sitter for this second race.
These ladies definitely know what they're doing when it comes to a pace lap. And speaking of clothes, I'm sure all of their favorite outfits are their race suit, but it's very easy to decide what you're wearing when you go to the track, because you're definitely just wearing a black polo with your teams and series labels on it. So definitely a little bit easier for us girls. You know, the livery with the flames, definitely, it almost gives me legend car vibes. It's kind of what I'm thinking there.
Well, I could definitely understand that indeed. Certainly, you know, it's been a while since I've seen some legends, but certainly the Radicals for me are a lot more car indeed. And I have had the pleasure actually being around a real SR3, and it's fair to say I'm a big fan. The SR8 and even the SR10, certainly a lot more machine than these SR10s. Probably one of the pinnacles of the Radical fleet, certainly in the higher power region, but I do believe they're getting very near the end of the lap. Certainly 2 corners left to go this pace lap. I've got to admit, Cara Dudgeon is going to be the one to watch for me. She's back in 5th place, but for how long? Marion Edwards getting caught out a little bit there with the cold tyres in turn 1. I do believe that lesson would have been learned, but we're going to find out in about 2-3 corners time.
Yeah, it looks like we're all ready to set off here, and the pace car will be headed off just shortly.
You see that as they head around the final corner, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a very tense, nail-biting race as they go under the go bowling sign. Don't get me wrong, bowling is fun, but racing cars is indeed better. As you can see there, Ella Mine, very quick to go, and she is away, way as they head down into turn one. Marion Edwards already taken over that second place, and you can see there, Cindy Piker under attack from Carl Dudgeon.
Yeah, it looks like Cara maybe it went a little bit wide there after a flying start with Marion Edwards just behind her. We see Cindy caught with Grace just following right behind her. There we go. Look, Cara's racing up through the field here. Just behind Cindy now. She's definitely going to try and make a move on her here. I can just feel it. Yep, there we go. We got quarter, bumper, and she's clear to go. Looks like they're just taking it away into that corner there. She's definitely powering through with Marion Edwards up in first place.
Well, look at the absolutely incredible pace there from Cara Dudgeon. She started in fifth. She's already in second, and I say that she's gone and took first, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly incredible pace there. I say took first. Yep, no, she's got it. For a second there, I thought they were still side by side as they handed round that big left-hander there, but absolutely showing the field how it's done. Incredible pace. Now, this could be a learning opportunity there for the 587 of Marion Edwards. Certainly, she's going to be hot in the tail, doing everything that she can. And if she can stay a part of that draft, as can Cindy Piker, then these guys could indeed pull away from the rest of the field of Ella Martin and Grace Hughes.
Yeah, there definitely might be a breakaway pack there. You never know. That would definitely make things interesting. We could have a 1-2-3 race and then 4-5 also going at each other. Looks like Grace is slowly catching up to Ella Martin there. She's definitely powering through these corners. Marion Edwards with not too big of a gap from P1, as well as Cindy Picot just following behind her. They're doing great. Oh, looks like we got a bit of a spin there. Somebody tapped the wall. We can get a replay on that. See what just happened there.
Well, I do believe that was Grace Hughes. Just looking at the timing tower, she is dropping back pretty heavily. Thankfully, yes, a spare car is available. Certainly, the red hair are very vibrant, but does not going to help you underneath her helmet in this occasion, as I do believe she may have towed away to the pits potentially. But you can see there, Cindy Piker. Oh, here we go. Here's the replay. Let's take a quick look, and oh, bit of a wiggle, and that's the wall. I do suspect cold tires may have been in play. Certainly on the debut outlap, it will be a little bit more twitchy when on the limit. And, you know, it's one of those things with smooth hands is often the better input.
Yeah, definitely. She's just got to keep her head up, eyes forward, get that car fixed in the pits. I think you mentioned that they get another one and keep on going, you know. She's got a whole race left ahead of us and the rest of this one as well, so that's no big deal. She can always pick herself up and keep on going. You know, she's got the real life experience. We got to do that inside and outside of the car, in real life, in iRacing. It doesn't matter. We always just got to keep on moving forward, you know. It's looking like we're seeing Cindy Picot coming around one of the corners here. She's definitely trying to catch up to Marion Edwards here to go for that second place spot. Your podium right now is currently Cara Dudgeon, Marion Edwards, and Cindy Picot. Three of them are going hard and pushing through every single one of these corners. You know, the Radical definitely loves this track with the high elevation. You've got a lot of downforce going here, especially in the SR10. There is so much speed in these cars comparably to like an SR3. I know lots of drivers do love those ones. However, the SR10 is definitely a beast on the track.
So the SR10 is very much like, you know, if you was going to think of a potent weapon, I'd say that the SR3 is certainly, you know, it's definitely an assault rifle, but if you bring out an SR10, well, you didn't just bring out the assault rifle, you brought out the fully loaded light machine gun with the barrel drum on it. Certainly a lot more power available and a lot more skill required indeed to pilot that car. Certainly with more power comes responsibility. I believe Spider-Man may have quoted me on that, but forgive me for maybe not the most accurate movie references. The SR3, I think more of an approachable car that will test both novices and professionals. And certainly, if you wanted to get into one of them, you need to contact Robert Burgess, ladies and gentlemen. He would be the man to contact for that. And if you want to be involved in this Radical Academy, by all means, contact Phil Nels, ladies and gentlemen. We'd love to see you here on the grid, potentially getting the chance at that test session in a real Radical race car. I do believe they will probably use the SR3, understandably so. But you know what? If an SR10 becomes available, Jess, I don't know about you. I think I would probably say yes, please, given that chance.
Oh, definitely. The SR10 would be a dream to run in. You know, the SR3 is a great car to learn on, and it's definitely very competitive on the track. A lot of the categories, like in the US Radical Series, they're split up. So you have SR3s, Pro 1500s, and then SR10s. So if you're driving an SR10 and you win that race, you're winning it overall. You're not just winning for your class. There's quite a bit of a speed difference there. I have to agree with you. Robert Burgess, he's totally the man. He's definitely a great guy to talk to if you're looking to get into racing. He makes it completely accessible for everyone. And his wife, April, is the one who has helped us start this Radical Academy. She's the one, that sport has been male dominant forever, and she believes that's time that this changes. It's time for us ladies to sweep in here. So that's enough gun talk. Us girls don't care about that.
No, I know you like guns. I definitely wouldn't argue with you. This lady can shoot, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I say that. I know she goes to a shooting range. I don't know if she can actually shoot, but put it this way, I'm not going to stand in front of the target and find out. Don't get me wrong. As we see there, we had a battle going on here between Cindy Picott and Marion Edwards, and it looks like Cindy's just been able to get that done. A beautiful pass as they head out of turn one. They're now heading up the hill. Now, this is a prime drafting opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, and certainly Marion Edwards, despite being passed, will have an absolutely incredible slipstream as they're heading there towards the bus stop. Now, you want to break around the 300-foot marker, 300 yards perhaps. Forgive me for the incorrect units, leaving a little bit of space available on the inside there, cutting that curb as much as possible, and Cindy Picott running away a little bit there, able to pull away and move that gap up to about 0.6 of a second.
Yeah, Marion Edwards definitely got her foot in it right now. I'm not seeing too much braking going on. She's just pushing through these corners, trying to bridge that gap between her and Cindy Picott. She might be able to get it. You never know what happens in these races. We saw in the first race, we were switching around positions with quite a few of these ladies, and it was just awesome to watch. She's apexing these corners wonderfully, and she's definitely on the heels of Cindy now. This is about to get interesting. Let's just give it a bit and see what happens here.
Well, certainly it looks like Marion Edwards is now looking to have another fight back here in the 587 machine against Cindy Picott, and certainly that draft is going to almost offer a little bit of forgiveness there as they're heading round the third to last corner. I had to think about that for just a little bit of a second there. And this left-hander, certainly you can almost push it flat. Myself, I apply a little bit of brake, put a bit of weight on the nose of the car, and then smoothly power through. Certainly this next corner, I'd say about fourth gear, get the nose, get a bit of weight on the nose, and then power it over. And you can really, if you want to, push it right up to the edge of that Armco. Certainly use as much of the track as you possibly can, but Marion Edwards definitely keeping Cindy Picott honest for now. There's about 0.4 of a second in that gap, and certainly going up the hill, that slipstream is incredible and will certainly potentially enable a move going into the bus stop.
Yeah, Marion's definitely trying to fill her mirrors at the moment. If a driver's driving in their mirrors, they're bound to make a mistake. So she's definitely going to try and fill those. I guess we're at the point in the race right now where our tires have all come in. Like on the last lap or so, you start to see the degradation, but you're also on a lighter fuel load. So these cars are getting faster. It's going to be easier to catch that draft. And, down the back straight, they're just going to be flying. So we should see some opportunities for some passing coming up soon here.
Well, certainly she's going to have to try and stay with her as the gap has opened up to 1.3 seconds. Let's say that it's down to a second again. Certainly some big moves in and out the corners. And to me, seeing the gap move in such a way, 1.3 down to 1 and then back up again, that would actually suggest that the driver has gone in maybe a little deep into the corner. And while initially appearing a little bit closer, on the exit is where it's going to matter. And that appears to have paid off. Marion Edwards has caught up a little bit indeed. That gap now down to 0.9 of a second, ladies and gentlemen, as we've got a beautiful camera shot out the back of the 212 machine as they're heading down this right-hander. Quite a lot of overrun available here if you have the courage to take it. But this next corner, the left-hander here, very much a gently does it. Trying to think which commentator did that. I believe that was Reese Gardner, ladies and gentlemen, who was doing one race, and he absolutely, almost incessantly was obsessed with that line of gently does it. And certainly, definitely what you want to do, power on very smoothly. Let's see if they can run a little bit wider here on the exit. And yep, definitely a little bit wider, still a bit more available as we're on board with the 587 of Marion Edwards.
Marion should be no stranger. I know the karting world these days is getting crazier and crazier, and the fields are getting tighter and tighter. The girls are running right up there with the boys, as they should be, and she's definitely a pro in that regard. So she should be used to some tight, close racing and definitely going for the catch. As well as Cindy Picott, she's familiar with Super Production Challenge, Time Attack, Time Attack, all you're trying to do there is go as fast as you possibly can. So she's definitely going to try and run away from Marion here. So we'll have to see what Marion does to try and catch up with her. The skills she's using on track, looks like she's using up all the curbing that she can, trying to get her car to rotate properly while she's flying through these corners.
Certainly rotation can indeed be a little bit of a challenge. With the higher aerodynamics comes more grip, and sometimes with that grip it can actually be kind of hard to rotate the car. Don't get me wrong, it all depends on how the car's set up. And speaking of setup, these girls are running a fixed setup series, ladies and gentlemen. So basically everybody is driving the same car, just painted in different colors, ladies and gentlemen. The creative inputs were left very much on an open spectrum, ladies and gentlemen, as these ladies are absolutely pushing it through the paces at Watkins Glen.
Looks like everybody's picked up the pace a little bit for this race too here. Maybe they're a little bit more familiar with the track, familiar with the setup that's been given to them, and just overall running with this group of ladies, because the gap between Cindy and Cara is a bit smaller than it was for the first race where Cara was just absolutely running away with it. So, you know, everybody's definitely pushing. We got most of our girls going at each other. Not too many on a lap down there. You know, this could be a battle for 5th and 6th. We got a battle for 2, 3, 4. Everybody's very much still in this for podium in the top 4 here.
Well, certainly there's still a lot to play for. Grace Hughes having that unfortunate incident earlier. I do believe it's Amalia actually on track at the minute. Yeah, she must be. We got a fastest lap in there, so maybe having a little bit more of a leisurely start, but certainly still in the running and still able to score points. But right now, to no surprise, ladies and gentlemen, Cara Dudgeon absolutely dominating. 7 laps in and already pulled a 19-second lead. Certainly her dad is going to be incredibly proud of such a result, but certainly Marion Edwards looking to try and catch up to the 212 car of Cindy Picotte.
Yeah, Cindy Picotte coming out of Quebec. You know, we have a lot of efforts going on right now to get some radical racers from the Quebec area. There's lots of them in the Nissan Sentra Cup, Super Production Challenge, and you know what? They're definitely missing in the Radical Series. We have mainly Ontario-based drivers currently running in the M-Zone Radical Cup Canada, but we would love to see some people from Quebec joining our series. There's lots of you guys in NASCAR Canada Series as well, so I think you guys should definitely give a shot to some junior prototype racing and have some fun in FEL Motorsports. Maybe this sim series here, if you're a lady, this could be your intro to that. I know these guys also run one for men as well, or just everybody in general. So there's definitely many different ways that you can get involved, no matter what province you're from. We'd love everybody to come out and have a great time with us on track in real life and here in iRacing.
Well, absolutely, Jess. Certainly it's... oh, somebody's going in the... No, they're not going in the pit. Maybe they are going in the pit. Certainly it's quite a tight line, a little bit tighter than I would be going for, and certainly no pit stop scheduled in this race. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you are at home, it's actually more specifically to the ladies in the audience, if you are at home and you've been looking for that motorsport opportunity, this is it. This is a great chance to get involved, and not just on the, don't get me wrong, only one person can win that test session, but you're not just getting that. Certainly by just taking part in this league, you are going to become a better driver, not just in skill. I mean, we have Advanced Sim Racing doing some technical data, helping us with that, helping the drivers with that. They're doing some coaching, from what I understand, as well, through courses and stuff like that. But it's also about the networking as well. It's potentially opening up some opportunities, and not only that, I believe you'd get to hang out with the very own Jess Trafford. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a good reason alone. You will be pleased to know that I'm not, you won't get to hang out with me. So sorry to disappoint the very select, remote amount of viewers who would have found that appealing, but it's all about getting women in motorsport, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, Jess Trafford and indeed the Burgess family themselves as well. Forgive me, the name is escaping me. I know you're going to know that, Jess, and by all means correct me in just a second. But certainly the Radical Academy is up and coming and looking for your input. April, thank you very much.
You're welcome. No, April is amazing. She's the team principal for our Radical Academy team on track, and we had a great season last year where we had female mechanics, female engineers, myself doing some media, female photographer. It was all girls. Robert was hanging out too, but he's not part of our girl squad. But he's definitely a supporter. He's definitely an ally to us women. And this is our step towards inclusion in racing. It's a great opportunity for women and girls. We're working to break some barriers and traditional stereotypes. We're breaking into the men's world here.
Well, for me, it's certainly, it's not defined on that basis. For me, if you can drive the car, I don't care where you're from, what you do, who you are. I'm interested in how you drive the car, and certainly we're looking to try and make it as accessible for possible for sometimes for people who are overlooked purely on gender, and that's not right, ladies and gentlemen. It is all about racing the car, and certainly it's good to see that these ladies are getting out and doing that. And then not only that, Cara Dodgen absolutely obliterating the field right now. 28-second lead. I'll say 28. We rounded up here, ladies and gentlemen. But on the final lap, actually the final few corners, I believe, of Watkins Glen for round 2 has shown not only outstanding pace, and I do believe actually coming up to lap a car at this point. Now you're just showing off, Cara. Easy there, Tiger, but certainly doing what you can. Absolutely phenomenal laps. Actually, the best lap there from Cara was a 139.9. Incredible time. The nearest next lap time would be a 143.6 from Cindy Pico, and Ella Martin with a 144.9. So certainly, actually, Pico, Martin, and Hughes pretty similarly balanced on the last lap. Indeed, there actually. Correct me if I'm wrong, 43, 44, 45 there from second down to fifth. So incredible pace there, incredible consistency. But really, Dodgen absolutely dominating today. Gains 4 positions, takes a second win here for round 2.
Yeah, definitely congrats to Cara, followed by Cindy Picott, Ella Martin, and Marin Edwards. I know Amalia is just learning. She's building some speed. She's taking it slow. She's improving, and that is what our Radical Academy is all about. This is about us women and girls learning. We're learning together. We're taking all those steps together, and we're happy to support everybody in this series, and we're going to learn from absolutely everything. We're going to do our very best at all times, and we're going to keep pushing forward.
Well, certainly it is a very much an early series as it is right now, and again, we're looking to try and get you involved as well. So if it's not yourself necessarily, and you know a friend who wants to get involved, please let us know. The best way to reach us, either comment on the YouTube channel. By all means, you're watching it here, let us know there. Reach us that way. You can send us an email as well. pitroadproductionsinc@gmail.com, or you can email Phil Nails. I believe you can reach Jess probably on social media in some fashion. I don't know how involved you are in the recruitment process, but I know any of us would be very happy to help get you there and get you involved in this series. As we can see there, Marin Edwards coming across the line for race 2.
Yeah, definitely send me a message on Instagram. You can message Radical Academy Can on Instagram, Radical Canada on Instagram. A lot of our posts are collaborated together, and it should be pretty easy to find us. You can also email Phil at info@motorsportcan.ca, and he will get you set up, and you can join our Discord. And then hopefully in 2 weeks' time, we'll see you on our grid here.
Well, certainly, and I'm very much looking forward to the schedule here. I got to admit, whoever chose the track schedule for this, certainly, I didn't get involved in this one, but I definitely approve of the selections. Certainly, you know what, I definitely would wish I would actually 100% drive this, and certainly we know in the Radicals, I've definitely done it before and definitely haven't had much pace. But generally, you know what? For me, it's about having fun, ladies and gentlemen. And certainly, you know what? These ladies appear to be having a lot of fun. Cara Dodgen especially having a lot of fun. Amalia, again, just starting out on the sim racing world. And actually, if I remember rightly, I felt sure we had some fantastic notes here. Let me see here. Amalia. Okay, there we go. I knew she had experience. So training, coaching, track days in a Nissan Silvia S13. So that's pretty badass. FRS, I've tried that. GR86, even better. As I keep reading this list, I'm just salivating at the cars this lady's got to drive. A Porsche 911 GTS, yeah. GT3 RS. I'm sorry, you're not going to beat that for me. That's pretty up there. For a car that is not necessarily a pure-built race car. For me, if I want a pure-built race car, I want a Radical. Best of British, ladies and gentlemen. And then a BMW 228i. Schedules at Callum Bogey, Shannonville, Motorsport, my apologies. I feel like somebody's just gone and crucified me for that. Donington, UK, Getting, and Cadwell Park. All right, I'm definitely going to have to get to learn this lady a bit more. Certainly some tracks very much on my bucket list there. Cadwell Park, actually an hour away from where I grew up. And when I say grew up, where I aged. We'll put it like that. I was in England until the tender age of 21, ladies and gentlemen. But that's about it for the racing, at least for now. These ladies are going to take a 5-minute warm-up, perhaps a little commercial break from our sponsors after we go through the final results from round 2. Actually, I tell you what, Jess, why don't you do the honors?
It looks like for our race 3 results after 9 laps, in first we have the number 305, Cara Dudgeon of Cara Dudgeon Racing in the lead once again. We have Cindy Picot in the 212 machine for Picotti Racing in second place. And to round off our podium, we have Ella Martin in the 206 Radical as part of Ella Martin Racing. After that, we have Marin Edwards, number 587, in fourth with Edison Racing, and Grace Hughes in fifth place, representing Radical Academy, followed by Amalia Ciparoni, Relaxed Pools Racing, rounding out our top 6. Everybody did an excellent job this time, and we are excited for our next race.
Well, certainly you can see there a couple of people trying to moonlight there onto the standings. So certainly interesting. If you wanted to get screen time, that's maybe not the best way of doing it, just trying to moonlight into a different session. But certainly, it's a work in progress, ladies and gentlemen. The first show of any broadcast is always a learning experience. And beautiful B-roll there showing some of the more geographical elements here from Watkins Glen. And I gotta say, quite a flat landscape there. But I do believe we've got a couple of little advertisements we can go through while these drivers take to the track for a bit of a warm-up session.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Why Radical? We build race cars. We race iconic tracks. We set lap records. We build friendships.
3, 4.
We create champions. We make racers.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, new and improved, I believe. We're going to find out very shortly. Certainly being thrown a little bit of a curveball there, and I believe we may have absolutely sent it out the park for a home run. Certainly something that Cara Dudgeon has indeed done. At this point, I believe that ball may indeed be on fire, and she hit it with the cruise missile talents of, I don't know, really. The Incredible Hulk. Let's go with that. I'm sure
That's not very girly.
Jess, by all means, think of a better example. I was kind of winging it from the hip there, and certainly they don't always shoot 10s, but Cara having incredible pace here, absolutely dominating, doing a fantastic job. Certainly, hard work has paid off, and it's going to be very much another challenge for her. She's going to be starting at the back of the grid. And as we have a look, Amalia, incredible real-life experience, certainly probably the most experienced in real-life driver we have here today. They're going to be there on P1. It's going to be Amalia Ciparone, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Actually, incredible driving. It appears to be quite young. I'm not quite sure how old Amalia is. Maybe, Jess, that's something you could shed some light on. But Grace Hughes is going to take second spot in the grid. Marin Edwards in third. Cindy Picot is going to be in fourth, with Cara Dudgeon in fifth.
Yeah, I'm excited to see these ladies take to the track. I know Amalia's just setting her pace, so we'll see how long she can hold P1. I know Cara's going to come probably flying down the field there, looking for the best position possible. starting from the back there, but that's okay. You know, we got Cindy Picot ahead of her, and she's just definitely going to be on fire, just like her car's livery on the track for this time around. This is our third race and final race of the day, I believe. So this is our shot, and you know what? Any points are good points towards the championship. You just want to do your best and see how you can get those numbers to stack up.
Well, certainly it is indeed a race to the points, and Cara Dudgeon doing an absolutely fantastic job here. But it's not only that, you know, it's not all settled in one race. Certainly myself, I have tracks that I am good at, and tracks that I have tracks that I am average at, and I have tracks that I am less than average at. I could hear my producer almost scoffing a little bit there at the sound of me admitting to any kind of driving talent. And I can't even give him a hard time for it because he is rated higher than I am, which, you know, I'm going to let him enjoy that for just a few short moments, ladies and gentlemen, as he's yet to be brought out on a race. But certainly we can see here it's going to be a very interesting battle for the final round this evening of the Radical Academy Esports Championship.
You know, we are very lucky to have this great weather today for this race at Watkins Glen. I've been there in the sun, I've been there in the wet, and when it is raining, it is not fun. Everybody's car is definitely stuck in the mud, and you can see people even like trying to tow them out with dualies. So hopefully all these ladies park their cars in the paddock on the asphalt when they arrive to the track today here in iRacing, because otherwise that wouldn't be great. But we're lucky with the 21 degrees, and looks like it's clear skies ahead for everybody.
Well, certainly speaking of the weather, I have several feet of snow over here. Would probably be more adept for skiing than for racing. Certainly it was not a warm, balmy condition, certainly of places like, I don't know, Watkins Glen, Texas, and anywhere indeed that does not have snow. Certainly I look outside and I was literally standing on a lake earlier, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly not the conditions I would want to race in, and as amazing as a Radical is, I do believe the ground clearance would be more effective at plowing the snow rather than driving over it, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly, you know, thankfully, nice clear skies here today at Watkins Glen. It's going to be an absolute belt of a race, and it's looking like we're going to have a nice dry race as well. No rain here on the forecast.
You know what? Speaking of standing on the one of our fellow Canadian race car drivers, Elvis Stoico, has actually brought one of his race cars, very similar to a Radical, on the ice before. So I think that would definitely be something that's very interesting to see. Maybe we should get a Radical on the ice. That would be very Canadian. Maybe have somebody play hockey around them. I don't know. You wouldn't want to cause any damage to the car, though, so I guess you'd have to shoot the puck away from the cars. Maybe over it? I don't know. You'd have to get somebody really good out there, though. But I guess at home here in Ontario, we're expecting quite a bit of snow tomorrow, so I would definitely like to be in this Watkins Glen weather right now.
Well, certainly, you know, it is indeed an adaptation, and there you go, Rob Burgess. If you'd like to lend us a Radical, we will do you a snowshoe for the Radical. Don't get me wrong, it's yeah, free a Radical on the ice. You know, but some people want cryogenics and to be frozen. We'll freeze a Radical for you, sir. But maybe not the best investment at this point. While they are somewhat collectible, I don't think it is the design purpose for these incredible vehicles as they're going around the final corner. And it's going to be Amalia Ciparone is going to be leading the pole. Barney's there with the green flag. I don't know why he's called Barney. And green as they head down to turn one. Absolutely incredible grid. And I actually believe, yeah, we're back to 6 cars, ladies and gentlemen, already battle going on between the Radical Academy drivers. Absolutely incredible fight. That looks like Cara Dudgeon, Ella Martin, and Grace Hughes all going potentially side by side through turn one.
Yeah, it looks like we got Marin Edwards in the lead right now with some Radical Academy cars following close behind. Everybody is absolutely ripping through this first corner. We have some position changes going on, you know. There's lots to see here. We got Marin Edwards, Cindy Picot, Cara Dudgeon, followed by Amalia Ciparone, and then Ella Martin and Grace Hughes. We'll see how this one turns out. Everybody looks like they've got some insane speed going on. It's like they know a Radical test day is at stake here. Nonetheless, no pressure, ladies. We'll see how this goes. Looks like we got a bit of a battle going on here, trying to get around Cindy Picot. That's Cara there. You know, she's got that fire, and looks like she is making the pass going through the corner there.
Oh, I've just seen a pretty incredible crash that's just occurred, and we're going to have to get a quick replay of that. I believe that was a two-car incident. Oh dear, open concept car for a couple of these drivers now. Let's take a quick look at the replay. I don't believe it was Cindy Picot. I actually believe it was maybe Ella Martin and Amalia Ciparone. We'll take a quick look at that in just a few short moments. Right now, Cindy Picot is absolutely applying pressure to the back of Cara Dudgeon, so perhaps Dudgeon is going to be, you know, maybe pulling Picot along to Marion Edwards, who's currently leading this race.
Yeah, definitely. Marion Edwards is going to try her darnest to keep Cara Dudgeon off of that first place position. You know, could be a 3-race shutout for Cara, and Marion can be the one to stop that in this position, with Cindy Picot not far behind, but it looks like our first two might be getting a run here and definitely taking off with it. If she's close enough, she will definitely get a run on her with that draft, especially going up the back there.
Well, certainly the slipstream is very prevalent. It is almost like a slingshot effect. Actually pulling out a little bit quick there. I would definitely stay in that slipstream a little bit longer, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly, you know, you want to try and use that and almost weaving and soaring the wheel there. And she's going to go on the inside and absolutely applying the pressure there very briefly, leaving a good about half a car width length. Very courteous racing there, and absolutely slingshots it into first position. Beautiful line through the bus stop and is up and away. Now the question is, can Marion Edwards stay with her? As I do believe, yes, we do have two cars there in the pits of the 220 of Amalia Ciparone and Ella Martin, who were caught in that earlier incident.
Yeah, so far we've seen some pretty clean racing from these ladies here. Everybody's quite courteous on the track, and if somebody's got the position, they know it, and some of them are, they're definitely still trying to hold them off, but we're not going to get in the way of certain stuff like that. Oh, looks like we might have had a little tap there between Amalia and I believe that might be to Amalia and I'm not sure who the other car was, and Ella Martin. So we'll see how that one plays out. You got the replay here on the right front, just next to her there, sending her up a little bit into the air and got her nose flying off as well, but that's okay. So it looks like she'll probably have to go back to the pits to figure out what's going on there and do some repairs to her Radical SR10.
Well, I will say this, having had some first-hand experience of getting to work on the Radical a little bit, incredibly friendly cars to work on. The engineering really is thought out, and certainly if you've ever worked on like your normal passenger car, some are easier to work on than others. In a Radical, if it's in the way, you just take off the whole body panel, ladies and gentlemen. Much more friendly. It is almost a bliss to work on in comparison. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot more engineering involved in some of the high-performance components in these vehicles, but certainly accessibility is not a challenge. So that's another side. When you're thinking about getting into race cars, how easy is it to work on? Well, ladies and gentlemen, just take the body panels off. Takes a couple of minutes and boom, you're in. Certainly something that I am rather fond of, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see here, there is currently quite a little bit of a spread happening throughout the field. Cara Dudgeon pulled away about a 3.3 second gap to Marion Edwards, who we're watching right now, currently in second place for Edison Racing. In third, Cindy Picot. She's there with the 212 machine. Grace Hughes is in fourth, and Ella Martin and Amalia Ciparone close out fifth and sixth.
Zippy, that's definitely a lot of the aero comes from the bodywork. If not, we got a lot of air going through them. I know in NASCAR you can just if something's hanging off, you can rip it off and go, but with these guys you might want to go get a nose or a wing or an anything replacement from our friend Robert Burgess in the paddock, who will always have some for you in his trailer just in case the event that happens.
Well, certainly I do know some racers who have had that experience. I believe Toronto Indy had a little bit of a more spicy start. Certainly actually comparable to what we see around one of the Radical Canada Cup, certainly on here on Pit Road Productions. It was well, put it this way, for that one I was glad it was not a real life repair build, because it definitely would have been a very busy day in the pits, we'll say it like that. Certainly a little bit of a spice one. We're currently on board with Marion Edwards, who's currently putting in some nice, clean, tidy laps, currently doing about 240 kilometers an hour, ladies and gentlemen. So actually, absolutely getting on with it. Certainly these cars, not for the faint of heart. It does take a lot of skill to control them, and certainly having actually 3 seasons now of commentating these Radicals, and if not commentating, driving them here in the sim, I can tell you that even just to be competitive to keep these cars on the track and on the limit does take an incredible amount of skill. So certainly not to take away from these drivers, it is an incredible challenge they got amongst themselves, but once you get the grips of this car, incredibly rewarding to drive.
Vehicle to drive. I'm yet to meet anybody who doesn't like driving a Radical, and you know what? It's great that you can, since it's an open cockpit, you can look left, you look right, you can see everywhere in front of you. It's not like one of the other prototypes that have a closed dome over the top. So the visibility in these things is absolutely fantastic, and you definitely have a lot of mobility in them as well.
Well, certainly I've not yet had that real life experience. So again, Rob Burgess.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to get you out to the track at some point. Either that or maybe Radical at some point will head out to Nova Scotia. Who knows? Like I said, right now we're mainly based in Ontario. We're trying to get some joiners from Quebec, and we do have our GP3R race coming up there. So we're going one province over. We're getting a little bit closer to Nova Scotia. But you know, who knows what the future holds? Maybe you can just come this way. You should definitely just visit us instead.
Well, it's certainly on the bucket list of things to do. I certainly, I don't know quite what I'm going to do with my cute, adorable, albeit sassy dog who's currently... Oh yeah, she's knocked out behind me. Yep, she's flat out.
I'm sure Robert Scott Stewart would love to hang out with your pup. They're very encouraged to have in the paddock, and we all love hanging out with them, especially the Radical Academy girls. We always love having the pups around.
Oh, you say that now. She is indeed a very sassy pup. She's a lot like me. She's got a big mouth, but she doesn't really have much to back it up. And certainly, you know, you're talking about the aerodynamics of these Radicals earlier, and I can relate to that. I put out indeed a lot of air, and certainly, I don't think it keeps me grounded, but certainly it does have an impact on the performance. But Grace Hughes, my apologies, the 808 machine, currently resting in 4th place with the absolutely... Well, the Radical hair I'm going to go with. Apologies for that, but it's the best way I can put it. I'm just jealous, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just, you know, I'm just me. But, you know, having an absolutely a pretty clean race, actually. Managed to avoid that incident earlier between the 206 and the 220 and putting in some nice clean laps at the minute. You know, not too much experience in the sim just yet, but certainly getting more pace with time, and certainly, you know, someone to keep an eye on. I mean, they are a full-time Radical Academy driver, you know, so they will be getting to drive the real vehicle. And definitely, I know from experience here that, you know, some drivers on the real racetrack, they have incredible pace, but going to the sim, you know, you have lost a couple of them inputs that you're really looking for. The, for lack of better words, the old butt dyno is not quite as, you know, not quite as useful there as an input, but certainly, you know, doing a respectable job. But it looks like we've got a couple of cars coming together now. That's 206 here, and that's the 220. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have a battle going on here, back in 5th place.
Looks like Cara actually just was flashing Ella Martin there just to get across from her. You know, that's what the drivers like to do. They'll always hit the flashers, be like, hey, I'm here, just in case, because they shouldn't be looking at their mirrors, but that'll definitely catch their attention if they're about to head around them.
Well, I got to be honest, my apologies there. I was not expecting Cara to be able to do to lap somebody in this race, but incredible effort. And don't get me wrong, I see why that earlier incident, the tow to the pits, it definitely would have taken a little bit of time for that. I don't know if it was a dually, it may have been a flatbed on this occasion, but the recovery team to go out and fetch that car from the earlier incident there. But Cara doing an absolutely fantastic job. Last lap was a 140 flat. And actually, if I'm looking at the last laps, Marion Edwards with a 143.1, 143.1, and Cindy Picot with a 143 flat. So not a lot between them on pace right now, as these two ladies in 2nd and 3rd pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, these ladies are definitely throwing some great laps in there. It looks like Grace Hughes is just pushing herself up there to 3rd position. So she has a shot at the podium here. That will be awesome. Looks like Marion Edwards is in the pits currently. That's what I'm seeing on my end. Cara Dudgeon obviously taking this one away again, but the gap to 2nd is smaller this time than the last race once again. So the whole field is definitely catching up as they're getting used to iRacing. I'll have to catch up with some of these ladies later and see what kind of iRacing experience they have, because I've learned a bit about their real life experience, but I'm not sure who's super familiar with the sim. I know Cara is from previous experience, and I know Grace has done some practicing. I've seen that on her Instagram. You can find her at She Goes Vroom. She posts quite often, awesome. And is an awesome story to follow along with.
I'm just jealous of the market in there of She Goes Vroom. That's fantastic. You see, this is fantastic ideas that I don't tend to occur to. But let me see here. So you were saying that's Grace. There is somebody else I saw who has got some sim experience. Just give me a second here to find it. I believe it's Amalia. Nope, it's not Amalia. Somebody in here had a set of Corsa experience, and I've lost it, ladies and gentlemen. There's 6 entries. I know I read it earlier. Oh,
That's
there you go.
all
There's another column, ladies and gentlemen. Just keep scrolling over. So here we have a look. So actually, if we have a look here, Ella Martin does have experience on Gran Turismo and Kartcraft. Actually, Kartcraft was a karting simulator and actually had a track from 12 miles from where I grew up. Not that anybody cares about that, but for me, it was a little bit of pride. I do see here 3 years on and off iRacing on the official servers, and I'm guessing that's Cara. Yep, that is indeed Cara, and racing on Assetto Corsa. That's Marin Edwards. There you go. So definitely some sim experience, but I will admit, certainly switching between iRacing and Assetto Corsa, it's not quite as easy as planned, as Marin Edwards is in the pits. That's not gone to plan. There does appear to be a bit of front-end damage there. Perhaps we can get a quick replay and find out exactly what happened to the 587 machine.
You know, speaking of great Instagram names like Grace's She Goes Vroom, Marin Edwards actually also has a fantastic one. Hers is at sim_her. Like, sim her? Very cool. Kind of a play on being female there. Looks like we're seeing her take a bit of a hit there. That's all right.
Oh, I just got that. It took me a second. It took me a second. There was sim her.
Yeah,
Produce-
sim her.
our
Sim
producers-
race her.
Our producer's still very much the bulb is on, but in this occasion, rather than being the 100 watt that we're used to, we maybe had a 5 watt with a bad connection. And certainly the penny did indeed drop. The bulb is on, and certainly I was definitely relating to that. And then I felt good with him taking a little bit longer to get it. But certainly these ladies, incredible marketing talents. Certainly, you know, maybe I should. I've got a project that needs naming, so certainly maybe I should farm that out to these ladies here. And actually, speaking of farming, generally the grass has been very well avoided here today. Certainly almost a catchphrase here for my co-hosts, that they don't go into the grass, they go farming, ladies and gentlemen.
It's actually agriculture racing. But you know what? Farming, I like that too. I like that too. I've heard many terms over the years for going into the grass, I guess you can say. But nonetheless, they're all very fun.
Mower party.
Yeah, definitely. You just don't want to call it a lawn service. That's offensive.
Is it? I wouldn't
know.
allow it. There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've already got radicals on ice. Next up, we're going to have the Radical Tractor Edition. Maybe we can gear up a couple of seating bags onto the back of that rear wing. And certainly, you know what? We could almost do some memes for this, perhaps. But I'm going to change the subject, ladies and gentlemen, before, you know, I dig myself an even bigger hole, and not just on the agricultural side, but in the commentary side, ladies and gentlemen, as we're looking at Cara Dudgeon, who's looking to try and lap another one of her competitors. And I do believe, if we can get a quick on board, I believe that's Amalia Ciparone in the 220 machine. And yep, Cara is absolutely sending it. Yeah, that's the 220 of Amalia Ciparone. Producer has stand corrected, ladies and gentlemen, as they're heading down into the bus stop.
Yeah, the bus stop here is definitely one of the tightest parts of the track. And because of the elevation, you know, they can be pretty challenging when the tires drop off here. You know, on any track, Daytona, Watkins here with the bus stops, that's obviously one of the most challenging parts for the drivers. And see how their cars handle at the beginning of the race with cold tires, at the end when the tire deg hits. You never know what's going to happen and how it's going to go. And we see Cara here. She's really taken this one away again. She's fire around the track. This girl is going places, and she's taking it home for the rest of us.
Well, I am hearing that Amalia was got a DQ for a little bit of time there, so perhaps for not serving a black flag. Definitely, you know, if you're going to mess with anybody when it comes to racing, the stewards is not one of them. Certainly the race control at my local track, one of them has a catchphrase that I'm not going to say on air, but certainly I'm a little bit scared of her in the nicest of ways. As we see Cara Dudgeon scared of nobody on this occasion, an absolutely fantastic line through there. Definitely goes a little bit wider, Cara, a little bit wider if need be, but goes and takes the checkered flag there for race 3. An absolute closeout here today at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, congratulations, Cara, on the 3-race shutout for tonight, followed by Cindy Picott, who is coming in now for the 2nd place. And I believe Grace Hughes will get on the podium tonight for 3rd place in race 3. So congratulations, Grace. Got Marin Edwards falling behind. Ella Martin still pushing through. She was just in the pits a few minutes ago, so she's just going to keep on moving. And Amalia, like we said, is perhaps serving a penalty or something of that kind, but that is totally okay. no worries. We're gonna keep on going, and 2 weeks from now we are gonna be back, and we will be at Motorsport. So for those Ontario girls, maybe they'll know this track super well. I know I do, and I'm definitely excited to see that in 2 weeks' time.
Well, certainly Motorsport is the home of Radical in some ways. Certainly, I'm trying to remember the name of this new track that's being built out. It's something park.
Oro Station.
That one. Thank you.
Probably.
Oro Station,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, which I do believe may be a new home ground for Radical itself as well. So certainly, if I'm looking to move, I'm probably going to move in that direction for all the wrong reasons, but for all the right reasons. As we can see here, Grace Hughes in the 808 machine, bringing it across the line in third place.
Yeah, great job, Grace, in this race. She really put her head down and just kept it going. She's using that real life experience on the track here at Watkins Glen, as well as all the sim practice that we've seen. I know she goes to F45 and does her personal training as well. So this girl is strong and she's ready to go. She could be taking this Radical world by storm here. Definitely looking, and it'd be great to have those third place points. Sorry.
Oh, don't worry, Jess. Believe me, it happens. If I counted every time I fell over my words and put $1 in the pot at this point, I wouldn't be a millionaire, but I'd certainly be a lot better off. But we're going to go through for the final results of the final round here at Watkins Glen for the Radical Academy Esports Championship. And as you can see here, car judging yet again taking the win, this time from the back of the grid. Cindy Picott in second, with Grace Hughes taking away the final podium spot in third. Marin Edwards takes fourth, with Ella Martin in fifth, and Amalia Ciparone closing at your grid in sixth. Well, definitely a fun and interesting series we've had here tonight. I'm not too sure if we're going to have any of these ladies come in for an interview. I do know I had the absolute pleasure of being Cara Dudgeon's first interview there. So certainly, you know what, for a debut round, it's Cara really absolutely dominating so far, and I do think that the battle is indeed going to heat up as time goes on. I mean, Jess, you know these ladies a lot better than myself, and certainly you're more involved on the real life track side. Certainly myself, I'm confined to just Atlantic Motorsport Park, at least for now anyway. But Jess, tell us a little bit about some of the things that these ladies are doing to prepare for these events.
To prepare for these events, they're definitely, in this case, they're going to get on the sim, whether that's at a facility or if they have one at their home. That's an absolute bonus. They're going to prepare for these tracks. They'll definitely study all the corners, maybe watch some other sim videos online, run the track themselves. You got to eat right. You got to drink your water and everything, though, too, because these races, they take time, and it's a lot of physical effort to be on the sim, just as much as it is to be in the car at the racetrack here.
Oh, absolutely, and I think I can remember one of the biggest things is, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never heard of this gentleman, but Swilio Almeida, certainly he's I'm a big fan, and for good reason. He started as he actually started as a pianist, became a sim racer, did coaching and stuff like that, and then ended up getting into a real Radical race car, and then not only that, he won the championship. So, atta boy. But certainly one of the biggest things I took from him, because don't get me wrong, with the different equipment that you have with the sim, it can change the experience a little bit, but force feedback in the Radicals, you can certainly feel it. Even alone just doing the sim, I took the SR8 for a couple of laps recently here in the sim, and I could definitely, don't get me wrong, despite incredible appearances, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not the fittest of individuals. Sorry to disappoint, but I'm not the fittest of individuals. Certainly the workout regime is me getting up and going to the fridge, but I did find, that has physical demands, but one thing that is often overlooked is when you get into the real car, the sheer absolutely incredible G-forces that the G's drivers will experience. Certainly, I remember, one of the biggest things that I learned from his videos is he's like, oh man, my neck, these cars will pull so much G-forces, you really have to hold yourself up and, train yourself and prepare yourself, not just as a driver, but as an athlete, to really, get the most out of these cars. And certainly, it's another aspect to think about. And certainly if you're going through this, in the real life, when it comes to the sim, that's another input that you're going to be looking for. And, it's all like there's a lot more to it than just, driving a car around a racetrack.
Definitely. A lot of these ladies have in-car experience in real life too, so they're definitely probably used to some of the G's. I know there's nothing like getting in a Radical for the first time and going down corner 1 at Motorsport or corner 2, which you can do almost flat. I've been passenger in one, and you know what? If you're not wearing a Hans device, you definitely need to know where these guys are braking. Otherwise, your head is going forward. And I unfortunately don't train like an athlete. Maybe I should, but I know these girls are probably one step ahead of me. If they're thinking about getting into this car in real life and winning the prize at the end of this, that's something definitely on their mind. You go, mental fitness, physical fitness, and you gotta be fit in your sim.
Absolutely. So, when you're thinking about this, I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I reckon I can do that. Absolutely. You know what? Come on out, give it a go. Certainly, we'd love to see you here. But, when it comes to the real world, there's more to just driving a car. But, ladies and gentlemen, I think that just about wraps it up for us here on Pit Road Productions tonight. The ladies, despite being great drivers, maybe a little bit shy on the interview side. I see none of them have managed to find their way over to the interview waiting area, where, honestly, we would love to talk to them. But we're going to bring this show to an end, and we're going to see you in about 2 weeks' time, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back for Motorsport, as my colleague Jess has very, very wisely informed me. Definitely very in tune with the schedule, Jess, more so than I am, and I'm not even going to attempt to contest that. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me on the mic today has Jess Trafford, making her debut, ladies and gentlemen. Motorsport Jess making her debut as a commentator here on Pit Road Productions. I'm not quite as... See, it doesn't look cool when I do it. It just looks like I'm, trying to be cool.
It just feels natural for like millennial girls,
Okay.
Elena Carter will know about it.
Now I feel old as well. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave you to it. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we're going to see you here in 2 weeks' time, February the 25th, 8:30 Eastern for Motorsport, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Why radical? We build race cars. We race iconic tracks. We set lap records. We build friendships.
3, 4.
We create champions. We make racers.